Every August, garden centers across the country roll out the clearance rack. Half-price perennials sitting in bone-dry soil, roots circling the pots in tight little knots, leaves sunburned and pale. People buy them anyway because it feels like the last chance before fall shuts everything down. Most of those plants are dead by October. And the following spring, those same homeowners are back at the same garden center, standing in front of the same plants, wondering why nothing in their yard ever seems to stick. I know this because I was that person for years. I brought home every sad little markdown plant I could find, thinking I was saving money. What I was actually doing was buying the same mistake twice every single year. There is a smarter way to plant in August, and it does not involve rescuing half-dead clearance stock, and it does not involve waiting until spring either. What I am about to give you are 9 perennials that genuinely want to go into the ground right now, while the soil is still warm and the roots have 2 full months to settle in before the ground freezes. Plant them once, water them consistently for the first 6 weeks, and you are done. No babysitting through winter, no replacing them next spring, no repeating the same shopping trip every single year. I have a peony in my front bed right now that was already established when I bought this house. The previous owner told me it had been there since the 1970s. In 15 years of owning this property, I have never fed it, never divided it, never sprayed it for anything. It comes back fuller every single spring, no matter what kind of winter came before it. Everything on this list is capable of doing exactly that. If you are new here, welcome to The Gardening Grandma. Hit subscribe right now so you never miss a video. I post every single week with honest, practical advice, no products, no fluff, just real knowledge from someone who made every one of these mistakes herself. Drop your U.S. state and your USDA hardiness zone in the comments before we go any further. Plant 9, Russian Sage, the silvery, airy perennial with tall spikes of lavender blue flowers that shows up in every low-water garden photo ever taken, and that very few people actually plant on purpose. Here is why August is exactly the right time for it. Russian sage hates wet feet. A spring planting means it sits in cool, damp soil for weeks before it can establish, which is precisely the condition that kills it before it ever gets going. Planted in August, the warm soil pushes root growth fast, and by the time fall rains arrive, the plant is already anchored deep enough to shrug them off. It wants full sun and soil on the lean side. Do not amend it with rich compost, because that is the single mistake that makes it flop open by midsummer. Give it a hot, dry, slightly neglected corner, and it rewards you with silvery foliage that smells faintly of sage when you brush past it, and a haze of blue-purple bloom from July through the first hard frost. Deer walk right past it. Rabbits do not touch it. I have never once fertilized mine, and I never intend to. A design tip worth knowing: pair Russian sage behind a lower mound of a warm-colored perennial like Coreopsis or Gaillardia. The silver foliage acts as a neutral backdrop that makes any warm color in front of it look more saturated, which is the kind of trick professional garden designers charge for. By the 3rd year, the clump is 3 feet wide and doing the job of a small shrub for the price of a perennial. And it will keep doing that job for the next 15 years without you touching the soil around it again. Plant 8, Threadleaf Coreopsis, specifically the cultivar Zagreb. Not the taller, floppier Coreopsis varieties that need staking by July. Zagreb stays 12 to 18 inches and holds its shape without any support whatsoever. Fine ferny foliage covered in small golden yellow daisy flowers from June clear through September. Planted in August, it has just enough growing season left to build a strong root system before winter, and it comes back thicker the following June, not thinner, which is not something you can say about most perennials planted this late in the season. One thing most people never hear about Coreopsis: it actually blooms better in slightly poor soil than in rich amended garden beds. If you have been fighting heavy clay for years, that is not a disadvantage for Zagreb. That is exactly where it does its best work. Full sun, average soil, drought tolerant once established. This is a plant that thrives on being ignored, and if you are the kind of gardener who forgets to water for 2 weeks in August, this is the plant that forgives you for it. Plant 7, Japanese Anemone, the cultivar Honorine Jobert. Pure white single flowers on tall, wiry stems that bloom from late August straight through October, meaning this plant is just starting its show right around the time you are putting it in the ground, which is a rare thing in the perennial world. Most gardeners do not think about fall blooming perennials at all when they are planning a bed. Everything else on this list winds down or finishes by September. Honorine Jobert is just getting started, which means your border stays alive and interesting long after the coneflowers and daylilies have gone quiet and the whole yard starts to look tired. It prefers part shade to dappled sun, tolerates a range of soils, and spreads slowly by underground rhizomes to fill in gaps the way a good perennial should, not aggressively, just steadily, never swallowing its neighbors the way a true spreader would. Plant it in August in soil that stays reasonably moist, and it will reward you every single autumn from here on. Fair warning, it takes a season or two to really hit its stride. Do not judge it by year 1. By year 3, you will have a cloud of white flowers moving in the breeze exactly when the rest of the garden has nothing left to offer. Plant 6, Sea Holly, the steel blue thistle-like flower that looks like something from another planet, and that almost nobody plants on purpose, which is honestly a shame because it might be the single toughest perennial on this entire list. Sea holly wants poor, sandy, well-drained soil, the kind of ground most gardeners are embarrassed by and try to fix with truckloads of compost. Rich garden soil is actually the enemy here. It makes the plant leggy and short-lived. Give it the worst spot in your yard, the one where nothing else has ever grown. Full sun, minimal water, and it will thank you with metallic blue flower heads from July through September that dried flower arrangers pay real money for at farmers markets. It grows a taproot, so pick the spot carefully the first time. It resents being moved once established. Deer avoid it entirely. Rabbits avoid it. It self-seeds just enough to fill gaps without ever becoming a nuisance. If you have a hot, dry, forgotten strip along a driveway or fence line where you have given up on planting anything, this is the plant that will finally thrive there. Plant 5, hardy hibiscus, specifically the variety Summer Storm, with its deep burgundy foliage and dinner plate-sized rose-pink blooms. This is the plant that makes visitors stop mid-conversation and ask what it is, because most people have only ever seen tropical hibiscus that collapses the moment frost arrives and assume this is the same thing. Hardy hibiscus is an entirely different animal, cold hardy well below freezing, dying back completely to the ground each winter, and returning bigger and more dramatic every single spring, the way a perennial is actually supposed to behave. Planted in August, the roots establish through the remaining warm weeks, and even though the top growth will not do much this year, what you are really planting is next year's 4-foot-wide flowering shrub, not this year's disappointment. It wants full sun and consistently moist soil, and this is the one plant on the list that genuinely appreciates a low spot in the yard where water tends to collect, the kind of spot that has drowned everything else you have ever tried there. Once established, expect blooms the size of dinner plates from July through September, and a plant that gets larger and more dramatic every year without any division ever required. Plant 4, Culver's Root, a native perennial that most garden centers still do not carry, which is exactly why it deserves more attention than it gets. Tall architectural spikes of white flowers on stems that reach 5 to 6 feet, with neat whorled foliage that looks intentional even before it blooms. This is a native prairie plant built for exactly this kind of August planting. It evolved to establish in warm soil and tolerate long dry spells once its roots are down, because that is the climate it grew up in for thousands of years before anyone was gardening it on purpose. It wants full sun to light shade, does not demand rich soil, and bees and butterflies treat it like a buffet from July through September. The stems are sturdy enough that it almost never needs staking, even at full height, which is genuinely unusual for a perennial this tall. Plant it once and it becomes a vertical anchor that ties an entire border together for the next 20 years. Before plant 3, drop your state and your growing zone in the comments right now and tell me whether you are working with full sun or shade. The shade garden questions have been coming in every week, and I want to know how many of you are actually dealing with that before I build the next list around it. Plant 3, Threadleaf Blue Star, Amsonia hubrichti. Soft blue star-shaped flowers in late spring are lovely, but the real reason this plant earns a spot on this list is what happens in October. The fine needle-like foliage turns a brilliant golden yellow that rivals any tree in the yard and holds that color for weeks longer than most fall foliage does. No fertilizing required, no dividing ever, no supplemental water beyond the first year. Deer leave it completely alone. It forms a neat rounded mound about 3 feet tall and wide, and it holds that shape without sprawling or flopping for decades, which is genuinely rare for a plant this fine-textured. It is slow to reach its full size, so do not expect drama in year 1. What you are doing is planting the thing your future self will thank you for every single autumn from here forward, long after you have forgotten you planted it. Plant 2, Siberian iris, specifically the cultivar Caesar's brother. Deep violet-blue flowers in late spring on grassy clumping foliage that stays attractive all season long. Unlike bearded iris, which needs dividing every few years and is prone to rot, Siberian iris is nearly indestructible. Planted in August in average to moist soil, full sun to part shade, it will sit there quietly building a denser and more floriferous clump every single year with no intervention whatsoever. I have a stand of Caesar's brother that has been completely undisturbed for over a decade. No dividing, no disease, no pest issues, just a slightly larger and more beautiful clump every June than the year before. The narrow, upright grass-like foliage adds texture to the border all summer long, which is more than you can say for most spring-blooming perennials that go floppy and ugly the moment the flowers finish. Plant 1, the peony. If you have watched any of my other videos, you probably saw this coming. There is a peony in my front bed right now that was already established when I bought this house. The previous owner told me it had been there since the 1970s. In 15 years of owning this property, I have done nothing to it except cut flowers from it every May and cut the foliage back every November. It has never been fed, never been divided, never been sprayed for anything, and it comes back fuller every single spring without fail, regardless of what kind of winter came before it. If you are going to plant one thing this August and never think about it again for the rest of your life, make it a peony. Here is the one detail that matters more than anything else. Plant the eyes, the small pink buds at the base of the root, no more than 2 inches below the soil surface. Bury them too deep, and the plant will grow leaves for years and never produce a single flower. You will spend a decade wondering what you did wrong. Get that one detail right, and you have planted something that will outlive the house you are standing next to, and quite possibly the next 3 owners of that house. August planting gives the roots the entire fall to establish before the ground freezes, so next spring's growth starts from a position of strength instead of spending weeks just catching up. 3 mistakes that will undo everything on this list if you are not watching for them. Mistake 1, watering too shallow. August heat tempts people into a quick 5-minute sprinkle every evening, which trains roots to stay near the surface where they will bake the first time you skip a day. What these plants actually need is a deep, slow soak 2 to 3 times per week for the first 6 weeks. Enough water to reach 6 to 8 inches into the soil, not just wet the top inch. Shallow watering produces shallow roots, and shallow roots do not survive winter in the ground. Mistake 2, skipping the mulch. A 2 to 3 inch layer of mulch around a newly planted perennial in August does more work than almost anything else you can do. It keeps the root zone cooler through the remaining hot weeks, holds moisture between waterings, and insulates the roots once the first frost arrives before the plant has fully established. The mulch is not optional for August plantings. It is what keeps the investment you just made from heaving out of the ground the first week of November. Mistake 3. Planting too late in the month. Everything on this list wants roughly 6 to 8 weeks of warm soil before the first hard frost to establish properly. Push these plantings into late September in a cold climate region, and you are gambling with the plant's first winter. If you are watching this in the back half of August, plant this week, not next month. The window is real, and it closes faster than it feels like it should. 9 perennials. None of them are asking much from you. Consistent water for 6 weeks, a layer of mulch, and a planting hole deep enough to matter. Russian sage, Zagreb coreopsis, Japanese anemone, sea holly, hardy hibiscus, Culver's root, threadleaf blue star, Siberian iris, and the peony that outlives everyone who ever planted it. Now I want to hear from you. Which one are you putting in the ground this week, and what zone are you gardening in? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. If this saved you a trip back to the garden center next April, share it with one gardener you know who is still buying the same clearance rack plant every spring, wondering why it keeps dying. That share costs you nothing. If you are not subscribed yet, now is the time. I post every single week, and I do not waste your time. Until then, happy gardening, take care of yourselves, and take care of those beautiful gardens of yours.